Hello, hello. Happy 4th of July, motherfuckers. This is chapter 6 of Count Flaherty's White Girl Bleeds a Lot. That's the name of the book. Happy 4th of July. The list is getting longer. Chicago, Cleveland, Columbus, Petona. I just looked up how to pronounce this. Oh, Perona. Los Angeles, Georgia, Florida, Waco, North Carolina, and Philadelphia. And that's just from 2012. The 4th of July. Picnics, hot dogs, race riots. Something about America's birthday seems to bring out racial violence, lawlessness, and animosity. Last year was Dallas, Baltimore, and Perona. In 2012, more than a dozen examples of large-scale racial violence marred celebrations in Chicago, Los Angeles, Cleveland, Columbus, Georgia, Florida, Texas, South Carolina, Greensboro, and once again, Perona. That looks wrong. Perona. Chris Rock started the day off with a bang. Happy White People Independence Day, he tweeted. The sleighs weren't free, but I'm sure they enjoyed fireworks. Ooh, spicy. On Twitter, Naki Mo Bitches picked up the beat. Fuck Independence Day. You tell me the exact date when black people are free, and then we'll see me jumping and getting excited, blowing up shit and whatnot. But you're a fellow American. In Chicago, some were enjoying the celebration until they were set upon by a mob of a dozen black people intent on violence. One man was taken to the hospital. 11 black people were arrested and charged with assault. Police blamed the problems on teens without parents, not the roaming gangs of racist black people. As usual, the media did not report the mob was black, and they took witnesses to set the record straight on the internet. For all that don't know, the perpetrators are African American. The perpetrators are African American teens, said a man self-identified as Jonathan Keyser on the Chicago Tribune website. I work in the area, and I've seen firsthand what these teens are doing. It's really bothersome because it's misspelled. They're hurting innocent peeps. This is just how he commented on it, but perpetuating a negative view of the black community. Well, one is immoral, one isn't. So, you can have a negative view of any community. No one gets to tell you how you feel about anything. Hurting people is not right when you're assaulting them and they haven't done anything to you. Not all of us are like this, but people would never know from what they see and hear. Local television reporters did remind people that it was the latest in a series of mob attacks in downtown upscale North Side area. 2 days later, is this Chicago? Oh, this is Chicago, yeah. I'm familiar with that area. 2 days later, talking about that night, the CBS affiliate reported sources told CBS 2's Susan Lamont that 17 other people were arrested overnight for other mob attacks across the city. That's it. That's all anyone said about 17 more people caught rioting in Chicago on 4th of July. The Columbus, you got to remember that, we had our FBI investigating white people for putting up, signs saying that it's okay to be white, right? But they're not investigating, these violent racial mobs that are attacking people in Chicago. In Columbus, Ohio, the newspaper waited for days to report about the 4th of July race riots there. It's not long. That's how long it took Michael Meeks to write a letter to the editor. After the show ended and people started walking back to their cars, things turned violent. A gang of approximately 30 black youths, both male and female, started walking and running down Broad Street and randomly assaulting white people, old people, children, women. I was first aware of the violence in front of the church at the corner of 3rd and Broad Streets. 1 block east of there, a man crossed the street through the traffic holding his crying son. They clearly had been assaulted. When others asked if they were okay, he said, "No, we're not okay. We got separated from my wife and daughter, and they're still over there." Finally, two Columbus officers were seen slowly walking towards the scene of this violence. At this point, the black youths crossed the street to the opposite side of the officers and started randomly attacking more white people on the north side of Broad Street. I know. I was assaulted by 5 different youths. At this time, the police meandered to the other side of the street. Some of us went to the officers and said, "Do something. Innocent people are being assaulted right here on Broad Street." One officer replied, "We don't have enough officers." And a little tear dripped down his cheek. Another local from Columbus chimed in. "Mr. Meeks, people have been complaining about gangs of black rowdies doing the very same thing after Red, White, and Boom since the city began the celebration. After the show, they run east on Broad Street, assaulting, even robbing, and yes, and every year it seems to take the police department by surprise. Or it could be that if the people don't see it, it didn't happen. And if it didn't happen, no bad PR. If the Pulitzer people ever decided to start awarding prizes to newspapers that do all their investigative reporting on their letters to the editors page, the Columbus Dispatch should have a look at the 2013 awards. In North Carolina, Greensboro police used tear gas on 1,000 black rioters after a dozen of fights broke out, and people were destroying downtown businesses. Yeah, I guess there was 1,000. There's an estimated 1,000 people present in Center City parks when small groups within the crowd start pushing each other around at 10:30 p.m. They began to break into smaller groups, and we began to have several violent issues. First fights, pushing, shoving. We had one incident where they disrupted a business and turned over furniture. Deputy Chief Wayne Scott told Fox 8's Lindsay Elton. At least one person on Twitter predicted the riots. "Downtown Greensboro, I'm going to have a riot tonight," ! Said Puff this tweet at 3 p.m. Over on Twitter, several people in attendance were upset at the rough treatment, especially, quote, "Man, I'm about to go off on these MF Green Pros PDs macing and spraying tear gas on people for smallish," at Mr. underscore T336. In Albany, Georgia, 85 police officers in the downtown lost control of a crowd 20 minutes into the fireworks show after large groups of black people disrupted the celebration. Police stopped the fireworks and blamed the problems on teens without parents. What if they have parents? So dumb. Witnesses were so they're extrapolating they don't have parents when you don't have to extrapolate someone's race. Witnesses were not so forgiving, saying that it was a dangerous and chaotic scene that some say included gunfire. Did it include gunfire? Let's get to the bottom of this. When posters on Albany. When posters on Albany's website said the rioters were black, some responded saying it was not an issue of black and white. Why not? Let's make it an issue. "So how many white kids did you see running around destroying property?" asked one witness. Not one person posted saying they saw any white people involved in the violence and destructions, or Asians, or Latinos. Latino is not a race. In Cleveland suburbs of Shaker Heights, hundreds of black people create a real dangerous environment, quote unquote, with violence and by rushing into a crowd of firework watchers. 8 people were arrested after police in riot gear with dogs quelled the disturbance, or tried to. In one news story, at Cleveland Plain Dealer, a reader was frustrated that the paper had not reported the riots. "My daughter and I will not be back next year. Daddy, why are all those kids screaming, swearing, and fighting?" "Because their parents didn't raise them any better, honey. It's socioeconomic reasons, sir." Nothing better to see police in riot gear riding on the outside of a SWAT van as fireworks celebrating our freedom from England, from the English rule, rush towards crowds of idiots. Then police officers telling people that they're here to watch the fireworks, that they have to leave. But I thought the police would put an end to that. I was wrong. So they're telling the people that are there to watch the fireworks they have to leave. Over at the Shaker Heights patch, Steve Smith had similar experience. It's not fear-mongering to say these people create a real dangerous environment. Linda Jenkins commented on the online article, told the Patch, "We were patient and scared. It was so sad to see families sitting alongside the sidewalk trying to have a wonderful and traditional outing to be placed in the middle of madness." That's what it felt like to me. Something else I want to say is that I think that people have had their own like small experiences like with racial violence, and then the internet has allowed people like people digging tunnels separately to kind of come together and connect like in a giant underground area and all kind of share their experiences. And I feel like as these experiences got shared, and after COVID too, right, people just stay inside and they don't want to interact with people like this anymore. They're making connections, I guess, and it was so easier and this is 2012 and 10. I mean, the internet was big back then, but now the internet is people's lives. um, you know 15 years removed from 2010. The year before, Shaker Heights had a similar experience. We were watching fireworks on the 4th of July, and no, Shank, sorry, excuse me, Shanker, Shank Heights. It's not Shanker. I don't know why. 4th of July in Shank Heights, said a reporter from the Plain Dealer. Only fireworks we saw in the sky. The only fireworks we saw were in the sky, but in other areas, kids went wild. Some, 500 to 1,000, showed up in a flash mob. Harmless fun, not to the teen who ended up with a broken jaw. On Twitter, a black woman from Cleveland who goes by the handle Coke216 had another perspective on Shaker Heights 2012. Yo, I got attacked by racist cops and attacked dogs yesterday because niggas wanted to start a riot at the fireworks. LOL. In Watts, Los Angeles, 800 black people setting off fireworks at the Nickerson Gardens public housing project did not take kindly to police and firefighters who showed up to stop it. During the incident, the suspects allegedly tossed rocks, bottles, and fireworks at Los Angeles police officers, according to City News Service. That would be live fireworks. Newspapers might not like reporting on black people in riots, but on Twitter, no one has a problem talking about it. On Twitter, both sides were represented. Cops in riot gear and the local shooting fireworks at the cops. Pretty funny till you drive through it. Here are two residents of Watts through the thought the riot was funny. Nigga in the Nigger in the Neckersons had the riot squad out there throwing fireworks and rockas at the police. Limofo, all did that futso. And that's from her fave Doug. Last one. So we was downtown watching Dallas fireworks, and a riot broke out. Niggas was were, and that's Quata Mill. 300 police were there. Wow, 300, Jesus. 300 police there, along with a crowd of 800 revelers. Couldn't tell that from the news report, could you? Several officers were hit by fireworks. There was no word on their condition. You get you bump an officer, and they can if they're in a bad mood, that's assault on a peace officer. In Waco, Texas, 400 black people filled the streets of downtown following a fireworks show, throwing fireworks and destroying property. When police arrived, they threw explosive devices and rocks at the police officers. Officers attempted to move the crowd, were not successful, and when they moved into the area, the people became hostile, said KCEN TV. The crowd then started throwing rocks at the officers and police cars. One officer received a minor injury when he was struck. Large fireworks that explode with a large flame were also thrown at officers by people in the crowd were attempting to use them as hand grenades. An armored vehicle was used to try to clear the streets. When it was brought in, members of the group started throwing bricks and large pieces of concrete. When they refused to leave, the police brought in an armored vehicle and sprayed the crowd with chemical mutagens. Twitter was on the case. Normal people hear pop on the 4th and think fireworks. People in Waco hear pop on the 4th and duck and roll. Hashtag ghetto. We was watching fireworks at Waco Bridge. Waco have way too many Gestapo people. Just saying, P. Same shit goes down every year at Waco Bridge fireworks, fights, and ratchet, ratchet kids. In Philadelphia, hundreds of black people streamed through the streets of downtown, beating, looting, and terrorizing right next to City Hall. One person was arrested for punching a police officer in the face. Several black people predicted this on Twitter hours before the violence and lawlessness begun. Whoever going to be in Philly better watch out for them flash mobs, young boys today, because they're going to catch wreck and today shoot CTFU. I don't know what that means. I knew better than to attend that nonsense. Downtown was one huge flash mob tonight, lol. Dumbass Philly youths. I have been in Philly for like 9 months now, but it's the same sheet I know. It 4th of July, them's flash mobs going to go to the Parkway and starts the fights. Okay. Flash mob downtown in Philadelphia. One person even looked forward to it. I love them wild flash mobs, asked youngins in Philly. Load them youngins bulls be sexy. Oh, well, good for her. I hope Da Real Cannon enjoyed her done sexy youngin bulls. The next day, an anchor, Rob Jennings, at ABC affiliate in Philadelphia, began to report by saying several people were brutally attacked by an unruly mob. A roaming gang of racists attacked innocent white people. Out in the streets, reporter David Henry took a less, and it's funny. You can make it about race, but there's people in the black community that are very that are being affected by this too, right? Most of the violence is in their community. You want a police presence to kind of keep you safe. So it's stupid. Out in the streets, the reporter David Henry took a less dramatic view. He started out with the Deus Regular claims that this is perhaps only blemish on an otherwise gorgeous 4th of July weekend. That the two people who were shot and that their two people were shot nearby. Other than that, how do you enjoy the play, Mrs. Lincoln? That's a funny joke. Yeah, this is a perfectly fine play. Just two people were shot. Then, while the video of the attack showed the mobs streaming up the largest street in downtown Philadelphia, the reporter describes some scuffles that left people with minor injuries. It's almost as if he did not hear his own interview or watch the viewer created video of the scene. This Asian kid got punched in the face and pounded to the ground, witness Jay Erskine said to the reporter. We've heard flash mob. By looking at the video, there were far more than a dozen young people on the street. The station may have been coy about identifying the race of the mob. The videotape is not. No one went to the hospital. No arrests were made. It's almost like it never happened. 2 days later, news stories on the holiday celebrations in Philadelphia Inquirer made no mention of the riots other than to pronounce, all in all, Philadelphia's 4th Festivals was a resounding success. In places like Quincy, Florida, riots with fireworks are a holiday tradition. In Quincy, one black man was arrested, and the others were being sought after crowds of black people attacked police and others with explosives in 2012. WCTV News in Quincy reported, upon arrival, and there has been no surprise to officers were ambushed by several suspects who threw explosive fireworks at them and their vehicles. Some of the explosives detonated underneath the vehicle and was enough force to shake the vehicle. Several hours later, police were called again to the location, but this time made contact with a witness who stated that 4 suspects had thrown a bomb at her. The witness also advised police that these same suspects were responsible for throwing explosive fireworks at the police earlier. Quincy police were the victims of a similar type assault last year on the 4th of July at this exact same apartment complex. One officer was hospitalized last year and suffered minor hearing loss after a large explosive device was thrown at him and detonated next to him. That's not very nice. That is why that is the way it is in Gaffney, Southern California too. In 2011, a group of 500 black people threw fireworks and rocks at police after the 4th of July celebration. At one point, someone threw a cinder block through a Gaffney police cruiser. The officers were overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed. My emotions. Neighbors in the area have described what's become an annual event as hell, saying it's reminiscent of a war zone. In 2012, Gaffney police flooded the zone with extra officers, and police were able to stop the quote-unquote holiday tradition that year. The same was true in Dallas, where in 2011, mobs of black people attacked a television videographer with rockets. Dallas was quieter the next year. In Greensville, South Carolina, in 2011, black people by the dozens hurled fireworks at Greensville officers. Neighbors called the police, and officers reported they were shooting at his car and he had been hit in the chest. Within 20 minutes, 25 officers were on the scene. The local NBC affiliate called it a holiday tradition that seemed to escalate year after year. Maybe Charlottesville should have been an annual tradition that seemed to escalate year after year. Wouldn't that be nice? Some nice, proud white people all getting together in one location, talking about how the Jews won't replace us, and then that could be a tradition. And then the news would report it like, the holiday traditions seem to escalate year after year. Too much to ask. In Greenville, fireworks violence is also a holiday tradition like Dickinson's A Christmas Carol. All that's missing is an old dude in a bathrobe hanging out a bedroom window saying, "What's today, my fine fellow?" says Scrooge. "Today," replied the boy. "Why, Christmas Day." "It's Christmas Day," said Scrooge to himself. "I haven't missed it. The spirits haven't done it all in one night. They can do anything they like. Of course they can. Of course they can. Hello, my fine fellow." "Hello," returned the boy. Do you know the Poulters in the next street but one at the counter? Scrooge inquired. "I should hope so, I did," replied the lad. "An intelligent boy," said Scrooge. "A remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there?" "Not the little turkey, the big one." "What? The one as big as me?" returned the boy. "Oh, what a delightful boy," said Scrooge. "It's a pleasure to talk to him." "Yes, my buck." "It's hanging there now," replied the boy. "It is," said Scrooge. "Then go and buy it." "Walker," exclaimed the boy. "No, no," said Scrooge. "I am in earnest. Go and buy it. Tell them to bring it here, that I may give them the direction where to take it. Come back with the man, and I'll give him you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes. I'll give you half a crown." Now, that is a holiday tradition. Let's head over to Ohio. Thanks, Colin. Not Akron. Akron. Akron, Ohio. If you were wondering if you lived in a black world, quote unquote, 50 black people in Akron, Ohio had the answer. Yes. No, they didn't answer during a community forum of our founding fathers, Jesus, or in the letter to the editor, or even in a rant on a blog. Instead, in the summer of 2011, a group of 50 black people clearly declared that we live in a black world when they kicked and punched and terrorized a mom, dad, and 2 kids leaving a 4th of July party. Out of nowhere, the 6 were attacked by dozens of teenage boys who shouted, "This is our world," and "This is a black world." And they confronted Marshall and his family. The Marshalls, who are white, said the crowd of teens who attacked them and 2 friends on June 27th on Guard Street number close to 50. 50? If you get 50 black racists together, the teens were all black. They said, I can't even get one, I can't even get 2 white racists together. They said it was started when one teen, without any words or warning, blindsided and assaulted Marshall's friend as he stood outside with the others. Marshall was the most seriously injured. He suffered a concussion and multiple bruises to his head and eye. He said he spent 5 nights in the critical care unit at Akron General Medical Center. "I knew I was going to get beat, but not as bad as I did," Marshall said. "But I did it to protect my family, and I didn't have a choice. There was no need for this. We should be getting along, but to me, it seems to be racist." Oh man, we got to send out the Scooby-Doo mystery. This is it. Pertona. Oh my god, I can't say this fucking word. Peoria. Thank you, internet. You've lived in Illinois my whole life, and I can never, I've never seen the word Peoria printed. Peoria, Illinois, was no better when in 2011 a crowd of hundreds of black people attacked police with fire, rockets, and explosives as they responded to a burning trash can. The trash can's the bait. 2012 was under slightly more control, but still violent. The Peoria Journal-Star reported police twice dispensed large crowds fighting in the streets with pepper balls. Early Thursday, hours after the 4th of July, revelers had vacated the riverfront area. The first call came in about 2:40 a.m. in the 600 block of Northeast Adams Street. When officers arrived, hundreds of people were in the streets with some yelling, shoving, and punching each other. That's not good. But this year, police and fire officials reported none of the violence was directed against them, or at least none that anyone would talk about. Peoria, South Florida are universes apart, connected only by a fondness for black mob violence. Let's take a look. And that's actually where I'm going to call it today. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe. We're going to get to Let's Party next time, Chapter 7. Bye-bye.